she makes. She is quite full of personality. Many people tell me that she is the strangest dog they've ever met, which I think is good, but sometimes she absolutely drives me insane. So, I'm gonna tell you about Julia and Solomon. It's a little complicated. I did weed through it a couple of times to try to eliminate any unnecessary information, but I wanted to give you the background of the case as much as possible so that maybe we can figure this one out together. Here we go. Both of Skye's parents were immigrants to the United States. Solomon Metawala is originally from Pakistan, and Julia Burkova, I know I messed that up, she is a Ukrainian born in Russia, which is why I cannot pronounce her name. Julia met her future husband Solomon at the age of 15. This happened in 1997, which was 3 years after she immigrated from Russia. She was a student at Bellevue High School, and Solomon, they met at a convenience store, and he invited her to a party. He was 21 at this time. They began dating, and she ended up working in a restaurant that his family owned. In 1999, when she finished high school and was naturalized, they bought a condo in Bellevue to live in. While Julia and Solomon enjoyed many activities together, there was always some friction between them. In fact, the police had been called on them when they were in the parking lot of a local gas station arguing loudly over their plans for the evening. Julia later told a psychologist that she knew that her boyfriend could be very controlling, and yet she became emotionally dependent upon him, which is what happens. They make you believe that you can't have anyone else in your life, and they control everything. I've been in that situation. Nevertheless, in 2003, she married him in a brief ceremony in his mother's kitchen. Later on, she told her family that she was given the choice of doing so or never seeing him again. He apparently was facing imminent deportation for reasons that I could not find. She did not tell her family this until 2010. In 2005, Solomon converted to Christianity. He and Julia began attending church in Kirkland. Julia believed that her in-laws blamed her for this, and this strained their relationship even more and caused more problems in her and Solomon's marriage. Within 2 years, they were experiencing financial problems as well, when a competing deli opened next door to the restaurant and cut into their earnings. Daughter Mei Lee, their first child, was born in 2007. Unfortunately, business further declined when the Great Recession that began in 2008 started. Despite those setbacks, the two bought a home in Kirkland for over $800,000. In addition to the mortgage payments that they still had to make on their Bellevue condo. I don't think I'll ever see $800,000 in my lifetime. So, that's a lot of mortgage. Skye was born in 2009. A psychiatrist that Julia saw gave her antidepressants while she was pregnant, although she said she did not need them. By this point, this is when Solomon became controlling and very angry. Around the time that Skye was 2 months old, his parents were arrested for leaving him alone in their car in a Target parking lot for almost an hour on a day when the outdoor temperature was 27 degrees Fahrenheit or -3 degrees Celsius. Police had them paged to their car and charged them with reckless endangerment. They claimed that they had only been inside for 20 minutes and just didn't want to wake him. But the security camera footage disproved them. Where was their daughter at this time? Did they take her in the store? After they agreed to take a parenting class, the charges were dropped several years later. On Julia's 29th birthday, early 2010, she was briefly committed to a mental hospital for the first of 3 times, after telling Solomon that she had a dream of killing her children. There, she was diagnosed with severe OCD. However, the psychiatrists did not believe that this rendered her unfit for parenting, and she would later deny that she had been diagnosed. Shortly after her release is when Solomon filed for divorce. I couldn't find a date on when she was admitted again. After they separated, she decided to tell Solomon that she had suicidal ideations, although later she claimed that she only did this to get his attention. This was our 3rd admittance at this point. After that release, Solomon and his brother took Julia to the University of Washington Medical Center, and she checked herself in voluntarily. While she was there, the lender foreclosed on their condo, so now they have no place to live. So Solomon moved with the children to his parents' home in Kirkland. At this point, their divorce got ugly. They fought over custody of the children, Julia claiming that Solomon was abusive and she feared for her life. He claimed that these were fabricated allegations and said that her mental problems made her unstable, that she wouldn't keep food in the house or let the children sleep in their own beds. Apparently, something that she said made Child Protective Services investigate Solomon, saying that he hurt the daughter Maylee. It ended up being unfounded, but he was not allowed to see his children for over a year while it was being investigated. And several different times they filed for orders of protection against each other. In September of 2010, my tummy just grumbled, I hope you can't hear that. The court awarded Julia full custody of both children. I swear that guy drives by every time I film. She refused to let them see Solomon, who at this point had no visitation rights. He continued to press for the issue in court, along with some other issues, such as their properties that they both owned. She offered to forego alimony and child support if he let her move to Arizona with the children, but he refused. I have to wonder who she knew in Arizona that she would want to move there. Anyway, their disputes in court continued for over a year. In November 2011, the court hearing the case ordered the couple into a week of mediation to resolve their issues. It was reportedly a success, with them eventually agreeing that Julia would have full custody of the children, but Solomon would have full visitation. However, on November 3rd, right after the agreement had been signed, Julia called her lawyer and said she had felt pressured in the mediation session and decided to void their agreement. This is when Skye's disappearance happens. Julia said on the morning of November 6th, 2011, she woke up and Skye was sick in their Redmond apartment. She put him and his sister into their car, a silver 1998 Acura and headed for the Overlake Medical Center. She then stated that as she drove, she ran out of gas. She parked the car on the side of the road and then left Skye strapped into his car seat while she took Maylee to find assistance. It took her over an hour to reach a Chevron station that was a mile or 1.6 kilometers north of where she parked her car. Instead of buying gas or asking someone to bring it to her car, she called a friend who came to pick her up and then took her back to her car. She stated that when she returned, she discovered Skye was gone. She then called the police and reported him missing, and they contacted Solomon. Searchers combed a 20-block radius of the car, but found nothing. Police soon became doubtful of Julia's account. Her car proved to have adequate fuel in the tank and operated normally. In the hour of wandering the neighborhood before she got to the gas station, she apparently made little effort to seek help from residents. She left her home with a sick child, but did not take her wallet, purse, or phone. They found no gas can in the car either. When she was questioned further about this, she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights and refused a lie detector test. However, she did give them permission to search her home, her computer, and her car. There was no trace of Skye at either location. The car was unlocked and showed no signs of forced entry. Police searched Solomon's house too and found nothing. He took 2 lie detector tests. The first one came back inconclusive, and the results of the second one have never been shared, which tells me that he failed it, because if he passed it, they would have shared the results. I could be wrong. Police also learned about the 2009 incident where she and Solomon had been arrested for leaving Skye in the car unattended. During the investigation, they both admitted to having left the children by themselves for long periods of time. There were some questions about whether or not Skye had even been in the car that morning to begin with. Passing motorists saw nothing strange about the car, and no one reported a child inside of it. At Julia's apartment complex in Redmond, neighbors said that she and the children rarely went out, and no one reported having seen Skye for more than 2 weeks. Solomon was not aware of anyone having seen his son other than his ex-wife since an April doctor's visit. Now this is November. However, Maylee did tell the police that Skye had indeed been in the car that morning. Now she's 5 or 6 at this point. The theory that Skye's disappearance may have been arranged by Julia drew more credence when the police learned of some strong coincidences between her story and a recently aired episode of Law & Order SVU. In the episode titled Missing Pieces, a young couple claims that their baby son has been abducted when their parked car was stolen. It is later learned that they buried the boy believing that they had accidentally killed him and made up the abduction as a cover story. That episode, first broadcast 2 weeks prior, had rerun the night before Skye was vanished. Through his attorney, recently posted a personal ad searching for a sugar daddy, seeking financial assistance for $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Investigators stated publicly that they did not believe Julia's story and suspected that criminal activity had occurred. However, and I don't really understand this, but maybe one of you guys can enlighten me, they did not formally describe her as a suspect or a person of interest, nor did they charge her with any child endangerment despite the circumstances of the case, her past arrest, along with her then husband for leaving Skye in the car unsupervised. The decision not to do so, they said later, was strategic. In order to secure a conviction, police and prosecutors would have to prove that they believe Julia did in fact leave her son alone in the vehicle for an unreasonable length of time. But if evidence later emerged suggesting that Skye had been murdered or kidnapped that implicated his mother in some capacity, evidence that suggested he had never been in the car to begin with, arresting her on charges that she had indeed left him there could make a prosecution for more serious charges impossible, which I don't understand. So you can't charge her with child endangerment because you might not later on be able to charge her with murder. I feel like that's not right, but later on, Solomon's lawyer told the Seattle Weekly another reason for inaction. If they did arrest Julia, she and her attorney would be able to review all of the evidence police had accumulated up to that point, which they did not want her to be able to do. I don't really understand that, because I couldn't find any records of any evidence. So, what did they not want her to know? No trace of Skye was found in the surrounding neighborhoods. Police said they believe that he did not wander away on his own. In the absence of any new information or useful leads, and with Julia's account still considered doubtful, theories of Skye's disappearance have assumed his mother's convenience. If he's alive, it is believed that either she let him be taken by someone else, or earlier with Skye's presence in the car, an invention. She concocted that hospital story, and when she realized no one believed it, she hired an attorney. So, either she made it up that he was in the car and went missing, and he'd already been missing ahead of time, or she convinced someone to take him. Solomon has said that he believed that Skye was alive, but perhaps not in the United States. In the spring of 2011, after a visit to the doctor, that was the last independent record of Skye's presence outside of Julia's household. He recalled that her estranged father came from the Ukraine to visit. He wondered if maybe the older man could have taken the boy back to the Ukraine with him at that time, but was quoted again in 2013 that he said he did not know what could have happened. His attorney says that she believes more definitely that Skye was never in the car that morning. Lucy's snoring. Nor would police have been expected to find any evidence in the apartment. With Julia's OCD, she is a clean freak, and she bleached everything out. Barry, unlike her client Solomon, said that she is very doubtful of the outcome of this case. I do not think that he is alive, she said in 2013. Solomon does not like when I say that, but that's what I think. And while she believes that Julia is responsible, she allows that it could have been merely the result of negligence rather than a deliberate some unspecified new information that might prove useful. Images of Skye that had been digitally age processed to show how he might appear at that time were distributed, along with his original photo. As far as I can tell, they have never found anything on this little boy, and it makes me feel so terrible. He, of course, is a darling little boy. I mean, he's not a little boy anymore. Do I think that her dad took him to the Ukraine? I think there would have been some sort of record of it if he had. Do I think she killed him on purpose? No. Just because you have OCD does not mean you're a killer. And I think everyone has dreams of things that they don't actually intend to do or don't know why they dream about doing. And if I had a dream like that, I would have shared it with Sean. I wouldn't have meant it, but I would have told him about it. I can't get my head around them leaving Skye in the car by himself either time. Several times, all the times. It doesn't make any sense to me why you would leave your 2-month-old child in the car when it's 27 degrees out. It has been very, very, very cold here, which I'm sure you're all experiencing that. It's Friday, it's supposed to warm up this weekend, thank God, but I went outside the one day that it was 25 degrees, so that's not much warmer than when they left. And I sat in my car for a while, actually, and it got so cold in there so quickly that I had to turn the car back on. Even as an infant bundled up in blankets, that little baby was cold, and I don't really have any theories on this case. I find it weird that she left the car unlocked when she left her baby inside of it. Maybe she did that. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say maybe she did it so no one would bust out her windows, but then you have to have some kind of concept of the fact that what you're doing is wrong. And I don't think that she did. Poor little guy. I just see him so cold and shivering. I don't understand how people can mistreat children.